The SLCash worksheet in Excel Data Bridge enables you to post multiple sales receipts and payments in Sage 200. With the SLCash worksheet comes an Excel template which is pre-mapped to the relevant fields in Sage 200. This template allows you to create your sales receipts and payments immediately, saving you time and effort, as you won't need to create Excel spreadsheets manually and map them to the Sage 200 fields yourself. If the default template provided doesn't quite meet your business requirements, it can be easily amended to suit. The SLCash Multiline Template is designed to enable multiple sales receipts and payments to be created in Sage 200 at once. These can be created as either standalone receipts and payments to be allocated in Sage 200 at a later point, or Excel Data Bridge can create these receipts and payments in Sage 200 with automatic allocations to outstanding sales invoices and credit notes. Sample data will appear in the template by default to guide you, but this data can be deleted to create your own sales receipts and payments from scratch. To create a standalone receipt in Sage 200, start by entering the bank account the receipt will be paid into by right-clicking on the cell and selecting Excel Data Bridge Browse. This gives access to your full Sage 200 bank accounts list to choose from. Now select the required bank account and either double-click or click Submit. Add a cash date for the receipt or leave it blank to create using today's date. You can now either type in the customer code the receipt is to be created for, or you can browse on the cell to gain access to your full Sage 200 customer list and select the customer from there. You can search for customer accounts based on account ref, short name or name by clicking on the filter icon at the top right of a column heading. Now select your customer and either double-click or click Submit. Enter the payment receipt indicator as R to create a sales receipt. Type in the receipt value, any references for the receipt, and any settlement discount if relevant. Entering a sales payment is the same process, except the payment receipt indicator should be set to a P instead of an R. The fields for status and cash ref should be left blank as they will be populated by Excel Data Bridge when creating the sales receipt and payment in Sage 200. You can now choose to either validate or skip the validation and go straight to the option for Create Cash. Clicking on Validate checks for errors which can then be corrected prior to creating the sales receipt and payment. If no errors are found during validation, the status field will change to Pending, and if errors are found, details of the error will appear in the status field in red. Please note, if an error is returned during validation, the error must be corrected and the error removed from the status column before trying to create the transactions. Clicking Create Cash will then go through the creation of the sales receipt and payment in Sage 200, which also goes through a validation process, and when complete, shows that the status has changed from pending to processed. The cash ref field has been populated with the Sage 200 URN, which allows you to trace the transaction in Sage 200. Note how each transaction is currently outstanding, as no allocation details were specified in Excel Data Bridge. Allocating these transactions against outstanding invoices and credit notes would need to be completed in Sage 200 in the usual manner. To create further sales receipts and payments, clear the data from the fields Status and Cash Ref before adding the new receipt or payment details. To create a receipt which is automatically allocated to an outstanding invoice in Sage 200, start by completing the same fields as were completed with the standalone receipt. This time the columns further to the right of the template also need to be completed, so Excel Data Bridge knows which outstanding invoice the receipt should be allocated against in Sage 200. Either enter an allocation date, or leave it blank to allocate with today's date, and enter the allocation value. There is a browse on each of the SLRef fields which shows a list of outstanding transactions for the chosen customer that the receipt could be allocated to. Only one of the fields needs to be browsed on, as once one reference has been selected, the other will auto-populate. Clicking Create Cash will post the sales receipt into Sage 200 and report back the status and cash ref so we can trace the sales receipt in Sage 200. Note how the receipt shows the allocation details in the Allocation Session drill down in the Transaction Enquiry screen. You may often receive a single sales receipt for the payment of many outstanding invoices in Sage 200, covering either a full or partial balance payment. And Excel Data Bridge has a quick and easy solution to handle these situations. In this scenario, I've received 2 sales receipts from 2 separate customers covering several invoices. I complete the same columns in Excel Data Bridge as if I were creating a standalone receipt. I do not want to add any allocation details at the right of the template. This time I'll select the Auto Match button. This will look for any outstanding invoices available for each customer receipt to be allocated against. A message appears confirming that the data in the spreadsheet is going to be rebuilt. If I click Yes to the message, the original line of data for each customer containing the total receipt amount has been automatically expanded to show several receipt amounts, displaying the correct allocation value and item refs. We can see 4 items to be allocated for customer BIR001 and 4 items to be allocated for customer CHE001. When posting multiple sales receipts, Excel Data Bridge needs to let Sage 200 know which lines of the sales receipt belong together. This is achieved by entering some data in the Group by ID column against each line of the sales receipt. I'll enter the letter A against each allocation for the first customer receipt and the letter B against each allocation for the second customer receipt. This data could be numbered 1 and 2 instead of A and B, as long as the data for each group of item lines is unique. Clicking Create Cash will again post the sales receipts into Sage 200 and report back the status and cash ref so we can trace them. Excel Data Bridge can also automatically handle any overpayments received from customers. For example, if a customer had sent a payment of £954 when their balance was only £945, which would leave a £9 overpayment or credit on the account. If you do receive overpayments and would like Excel Data Bridge to post these automatically in Sage 200, click on the Designer button in Excel Data Bridge and set the property for Reduce Credit to True from the default of False. You are also able to trace exactly what sales receipts and payments have been sent via Excel Data Bridge into Sage 200 by selecting the View Audit button. View Audit allows the tracking of uploaded data against each user, Sage 200 company, and Excel Data Bridge worksheet for a given date range. You can view further details of each transaction by selecting the transaction, then clicking View Transaction Data. You've now completed this Excel Data Bridge module. Thanks for watching.